All right, welcome to The Explainer. Today we're looking at a professional training course. But this isn't your typical recap. The real story, the one that got me hooked, is all about how it was documented. Imagine this. It wasn't some outside crew with a camera, but one of the actual participants, someone living every single moment, who created the record of the whole thing. It's a fascinating story.
So here it is. This is the e-magazine that started it all. It's called 𝚘𝚑𝚒𝚘𝚗. And yeah, on the surface, it's a chronicle of a 21-day course for music teachers. But like I said, the magic isn't just in what happened over those 3 weeks. It's all about the person telling the story, and frankly, how they even pulled it off.
Okay, so let's set the scene. Section 1, A Chronicle in Harmony. We're going to look at what these 21 days of musical training were all about. The magazine kicks off with this quote from Abraham Lincoln, which I think is just perfect. If I had 6 hours to chop down a tree, I'd spend the first 4 sharpening the axe. The course director put that right at the beginning, and it really sets the tone, doesn't it? This whole thing wasn't about just learning a couple of new tunes. No. This was about sharpening the axe, the actual tools of being a great teacher.
So what exactly was this course? Well, here are the nuts and bolts. It was a 21-day in-service course for primary music teachers. It all went down in Mumbai back in May of 2022. Honestly, you can just think of it as a creative boot camp. They brought all these amazing educators together for 3 straight weeks to just get better at what they do, to really hone their craft.
So, let's peek inside. What did they actually do for 21 days? This was designed to be a totally immersive experience, way more than just sitting in a lecture hall.
And man, when you look at the timeline, you see just how packed it was. It wasn't just one thing. They kicked off with introductions, of course. Then a few days in, a guest lecture on music and inclusive education. Super important stuff. Then, boom, a guest artist comes in to talk classical music. They even had an educational tour of Mumbai. And it all builds up to this big musical night where the teachers themselves get to perform, before wrapping it all up at the closing ceremony. It was the whole package, a really well-rounded experience.
And the goals here, they weren't small. They were aiming high. I mean, look at this. It wasn't just learn new songs. It was about getting teachers more in tune with their students' needs. It was about soaking up new knowledge and keeping up with the latest trends. But the big one, the one I love, is understanding how music creates joyful learning. This was some serious, high-level stuff.
So, how many people are we talking about? 45. 45 music teachers all gathered in one place. That's a lot of talent, a lot of experience. And you have to imagine, that's 45 different journeys, 45 different perspectives. But for our story today, we're going to zoom in and focus on just one of them.
Right. Let's shift our focus. To really get what this course was like, we have to look at it through the eyes of someone who is actually there. Let's follow the journey of one particular teacher.
Okay, so here's a snippet of the participant list. And right there, number 3, that's our guy, Mr. Govind Makwana. Now, on paper, he's just one of the 45, just another teacher there to, sharpen his axe. But as you're about to see from the magazine's own reports, he was way more than just another face in the crowd.
I mean, he jumped right in from the get-go. Check this out. It's only day 3, and the daily report highlights him giving a demo class to his peers, not sitting back and watching, leading.
And it didn't stop there. Fast forward to day 9. He's not just listening to the guest artist, he's contributing, performing a raag on the flute for everyone. The guy's got skills.
And he wasn't just a musician, he was a cultural ambassador too. Day 11, he's up there giving a whole speech on the folk culture of Gujarat. So think about it. He's teaching, he's performing, he's presenting. This guy was absolutely all in, totally immersed in every single part of this course. Okay, but this is where the story gets really interesting. Because Mr. Makwana wasn't just a character in the story, it turns out he was the one telling it.
Which brings up a huge question, right? How did this incredibly detailed record of a 21-day course even get made? I mean, think about it. Who on earth has the time to write daily reports, shoot photos, edit video, all while being a full-time active participant in a super intensive course? It just doesn't seem possible.
Well, the answer was hiding in plain sight the whole time, right here in the magazine's own credits, the editorial board. And would you look at that? There's his name, Mr. Govind Makwana, the same guy we've been following, the one giving demos and playing the flute, and he's not just listed once, he's on there twice.
And this is the absolute core of the story. It's just incredible. While Mr. Makwana was out there, on the front lines, so to speak, giving the demo class, playing his flute, presenting on his culture,
he was also working tirelessly behind the scenes. He was the assistant editor and the graphic designer and editor for the entire magazine. He was living the experience and documenting that same experience simultaneously. Just wow.
And that's precisely what makes this whole magazine so special. It's not just a dry report from some observer. It's a living, breathing chronicle built from the inside out by someone who was right there in the thick of it. And get this, he even lays out the tools he used to pull it all off. We're talking about capturing content with a smartphone and a gimbal, editing on apps like InShot and Audacity, designing the whole thing with Keynote and Canva, and then sharing it all through Google Drive and YouTube. This wasn't some huge production company, folks. This was basically a one-man media powerhouse, using the same tools you and I have access to create something truly amazing.
That's the magic right there. That's why this document is so unique. It's not just a report, it's a testament, you know? The person putting the pages together, editing the clips, he knew what the energy in that room felt like because he was feeling it too. He wasn't just ticking off items on a schedule. He was preserving a memory, a shared experience, because it was his experience.
So that leaves us with one last thing to think about. This whole amazing document exists for one reason, because one person decided to be both a participant and a creator, an experiencer and a storyteller. And it really makes you think, doesn't it? In our own lives, in our own careers, how can we become the storytellers of our own experiences?